Hey guys, what is going on? Ephemeros here. So, hope you guys are doing well. I assume you guys are because oh my days, look at these comments that are flooding in. Oh my god. Awesome support as always. And as usual, I gotta tell you guys, yes, if I don't respond to the comments, I am taking a break after each video, so I'll probably respond to maybe half the comments before I respond to them on maybe the third day that the video is posted. But hey, I will respond, don't worry. Always find time for you guys. Well, then again, especially the fact that I'm basically full on doing YouTube now because my schedule's very freed up. Anyhow, this is a much requested video by CR-Volcanic. I've been getting a lot of recommendations aside from Mr. Musalamalmari. I think that's his name. If it's wrong and maybe I forgot, sorry, but guy with orange name. Well, not orange name, sorry. Orange profile picture, and yeah, his name kind of goes like that. Anyway, wait, hold on. Again, much requested video. This is by CR-Volcanic. The Glorious Monsters of Monster Hunter Frontier. Now, I've actually seen, obviously, we've seen in my last videos. I've seen Monster Hunter Frontier thanks to Punk Duck, but what I've seen it because he's kind of telling you how the game goes, but I haven't actually really had a pretty in-depth dive, of the Frontier monsters. Sure, you can say, oh, you already know some of them. I mean, yeah, I've seen some of them, I guess, bro. But aside from that, man, let's get into this. Hold on. Okay. Sure, bro. Let me just close a few unneeded applications here. I was playing Brawl, but internet is being fuzzy. Okay.
So.
Oh wait. Actually, audio check.
This was gonna be
a top
10 video.
I hear you.
This is just gonna be a simple top 10 video in honor of Espinas in Sunbreak, and in this period of excitement that we have for the future of Monster Hunter. I wanted to make a basic top 10 list about the monsters outside of the mainline games that I really liked and wanted to see in future Monster Hunter titles. For the uninitiated, there's a number of fantastic Monster Hunter games that we in the West have not had the pleasure of having released here.
Oh,
and in these
really?
games are a plethora of fascinating monsters that we have never had the privilege of fighting. The three games of highest relevance to this are Monster Hunter Frontier, Explore, and Online.
Okay.
All non-Western releases, and all as of now defunct. No one can play them anymore,
didn't know
save for
that.
attempts made to salvage the servers that are mostly private and in beta for now. Now, originally, it was stated that the mainline Monster Hunter games would not be getting monsters from these other titles. They would stay separate. They would remain as their own different entities.
Yeah.
This has been stated.
Also, if you guys see me if you guys are seeing me occasionally going at a full screen, even if I'm not talking, that's just me checking the audio levels. Don't mind that.
In interviews. But things have changed. The exclusivity of these monsters is gone because these games are gone. And now,
man,
3 years after the shutting down of Frontier, 3 years after all this content was considered dead and buried, lo and behold, Espinas arrives in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. And not just Espinas, but his flaming Espinas subspecies.
This is true. I don't know this Espinas creature. I don't know this, I've never seen bro, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. That's really cool, though. He's got, really... The pink-red, almost look up, Petra from Brawlhalla. That type of, almost is, deep Well, not deep. What's this one? It's more like this. How do you describe this color? I suppose jewel-like, magenta-ish, pink purple looking, like tips. I wonder why it's like that. That's pretty cool. He's getting his nails done.
And he's a big deal. He's the Rathalos of Frontier. And looking at
Oh,
it
okay.
in a certain way, the Rathalos of all these non-Western games. A symbol in
Fair.
his own right of the monsters that make up these crazy games we over here never got to experience. And he will likely serve as a herald for things going forward. Now, does this guarantee anything? Not exactly.
I don't think
There is
so.
a possibility, though I
Yeah.
think very, very slim, that Espinas in Sunbreak
I mean, man, hey, it's good to be hopeful though. When that time comes. Ooh.
was a nod, a treat, a novelty, a small note of appreciation to these other parts of Monster Hunter, and that's all we're gonna get. And maybe that might have been the case, but we didn't just get Espinas, we got his subspecies, we got Frontier armor skills, we got Frontier layered armor and event quests, we got modified Frontier moves from certain monsters. The genie's out of the bottle, and it's not looking like it has any intention of going back in. This slew of Frontier content in Sunbreak, and the excellent series of Monster Hunter Frontier videos made by the guys over at Rage Gaming Videos.
Ooh, some people have told me to react before at Rage Gaming Videos. Though someone has told me their takes are kind of biased, and I'm like, okay, sure, fair, I guess. But hey, I I have seen their videos pop up on like my For You page essentially on my YouTube, but I never got around to watching any of them. But hey, if you guys actually want to see me, check out their content, then maybe we could do a video in the future, but hey, it's up to you guys. I'm just happy to be here, bro.
Who got permission to play an in-beta salvaged version of the Frontier servers, inspired me to dig deeper into these games, and gave me a ton of appreciation for them and their monsters. So like I said at the top, I wanted to make a list of 10 monsters from Frontier, Online, and Explore that I would love to see in the mainline Monster Hunter games going forwards. However, not only did I struggle to be happy with a list of 10, not only did I have to make that list of 10 by excluding monster variations and related species to try and keep it to just the original monsters of those games, but my honorable mentions had around a dozen extra entries, and that was with me trying to be picky and exclusive. And I realized...
Raw, he loves these monsters, fair.
That there's simply
I can't blame
too
him.
much good to talk about.
Yeah.
I realized that I genuinely wanted to experience about...
See, this is the type of problem a dev wants to hear. This is the type of problems a developer wants to hear. I can hardly make a top 10 on your fucking game because the monsters are so plentiful and they're all really good to the point their honorable mentions are fucking a fucking dozen of monsters. That's insane.
95% of these monsters. So, I decided that I was going to do one giant celebratory video talking about all of these foreign beasts and how awesome they are. And then I looked at the list of monsters I had to talk about.
Oh my god. Holy shit. I'm looking at maybe at least 100, right? At least 100.
So I decided to make 3 videos, 1 per game. And I started taking notes for the first script. And got halfway through the Monsters in Frontiers lifespan.
Yeah, okay.
So I decided to make 4 videos.
Oh my god.
The first will be the original run of the MMO Monster Hunter Frontier Online, until its G rank upgrade. The second will be the monsters added in said expansion in Monster Hunter Frontier G, and then Monster Hunter Frontier Z. The third video will cover the Chinese exclusive Monster Hunter Online, and the fourth will cover the mobile game Monster Hunter Explore. I'm going to go through these games one by one, and give introductions to the massive roster of exemplary creatures that...
Massive? Nah, stop. Sorry, been watching too much Key Hack.
We may have the potential of hunting in the near future. Instead of a top 10 list or a structured ranking, I'm going to tell you how much out of 10 I'd like to see this monster added. So,
Fair?
the monsters I want the most would get a
Ooh,
10 out of 10.
Leonastra.
A monster I absolutely do not want to see will be a 1 out of 10. You get the idea. Now, I'm going to cover Frontier a bit differently than Online and Explore.
Wait, what'd he say? Hold on. My brain just errored out. What'd he say?
I'd like to see this monster added. So, the monsters I want the most would get a 10 out of 10. A monster I absolutely do not want to see will be a 1 out of 10. You get the idea. Now, I'm going to cover Frontier a bit differently than Online and Explore. Since Frontier was an MMO with a laundry list of expansions and monsters added all over the power scale.
Yeah, MMOs are not my thing, boy. Like, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't an MMO like get quest, complete quest, prepare, better gear, get quest, complete quest? Kind of a loop.
Spectrum. I'm gonna cover these monsters.
Not saying it's not fun though.
Added the best I can using the wikis as a guide. So I apologize if I get something out of order. I'll try and double check everything. Online and Explore have less to go over and more conventional monster releases. So I'm gonna go over their monsters in a structure of weakest to strongest, the best way I can approximate. Two things I want to cover before I get started. Number one, I am going to talk about a lot of monsters and a lot of phenomenal monsters. There are some genuinely exceptional concepts and designs in these games.
Oh yeah.
And I think myself and a lot of people want to see these added.
I think one of the most endearing things. Okay, here's the thing, right? As a kid, dude, the idea of heavy weapons, like initially my absolute obsession was great swords. Cloudbuster this. Big cleaver swords that. Berserk this. Right? Lots of great swords. But the thing is like, I'd never see. Like, okay, I'm talking as in not medieval great swords. I'll be so real with you. They're kind of lame. The like medieval great swords. I get it. You needed the light. You still needed it to be sort of light to swing around efficiently, even though it's a great sword. And yeah, sure, combat wise, and let's get real, you absolutely need that in a fight, like in the medieval time, in the medieval times. Fine. But I'm talking as in the fantastical, fictional ones, right? The Cloudbuster shit, as I told you, like the Dragon Slayer with like fucking guts. But like, I think with the Dragon Slayer, it's like estimated at like 400 pounds, right? But like, anyhow, what I loved about it and what endeared me with Monster Hunter initially, even as a kid, right? I told you I saw like this one footage because I was like, oh my god, their great swords look so fucking cool. It's got amazing thickness. You have the broadness and make it really look like a great sword. Big hunk of fuck you. That's a new sentence. Wow. Yeah, it's a big hunk of fuck you for the monster, so you could slam it down on them. But like aside from that, like the weapon design, what really got me was the weight transfer animations for it. That'll like you twirl your blade a little bit around and then you charge it and boom, 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 and then you slam it. Man, that's so fucking cool, bro. That is so cool. Especially I also love this. The fact they implemented, even early on, I saw it early on, right? The hit stop mechanic. Ooh! I just love that mechanic, bro. Like, it's not like a mechanic, I suppose. Sure, because we're talking Monster Hunter here. It's not like you need to be like super calculated and fast paced, right? Because it's more of a weighty, chunky, ooh, look at that hit type of game, right? You have chunkier hits, and then, of course, you occasionally have your fast pace, like things like, the sword and shield, and, you have the lighter stuff, like the dual blades, right? But in terms of like the weight transfer that you're seeing with the big chunky weapons that are supposed to have crazy weight transfers, you're actually seeing it. You are feeling it, bro. Especially the fact you got a swing with your joystick. Oh, tell me that's not crispy, bro.
At some point.
Sorry
But
for the.
I think
Oh
it's
my god.
important
We're just 5 minutes in. I've been yapping for time.
that myself and everyone else keeps a realistic expectation about the amount of these guys we're going to get at a time.
Fair.
When MH6 and the games that follow it come out, we are going to expect a healthy roster of classic staple monster picks. We're going to expect that some monsters that have been absent for a couple of years are going to come back. We're going to expect a large variety of totally brand new to that game monsters. And now we're also going to be expecting a stream of ported over non-Western monsters. And 3 of those 4 categories are going to be new assets the team needs to create. Manage your expectations going into these future titles.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And be patient.
That is the most important part. You gotta be patient, bro. See, this is oh my god. I've seen this with stuff on Twitter. I don't have a Twitter, right? But I've heard of like new like word gets around, right? Even on like YouTube, especially with like YouTubers where you are covering drama stuff all the time, like Smuggleana. And obviously, I step away from the content most of the time because while I do enjoy watching goofy people do goofy things, it kind of gets tiring, But like from what I'm saying with this is that some people need to like be more tolerant and like if not patience, right? If not patient, at least tolerant because I've seen this. Again, let me loop it back around to actually finish the statement with the digital circus stuff. A lot of people were absolutely like, apparently like, I don't know, dogging on the creators or something for like, oh, we want the new episode, we want the new episode. And I'm like, guys, be patient. Like what? I've watched up until like episode 7. I haven't watched episode 8 yet. I think. Am I right? Is it like the most recent one, episode 8? I think. Anyhow, um, yeah, people need to be patient because if you rush like a developer or some, remember this: you can never rush creativity. Of course, it's fair to have like, hey, we have a deadline and it's coming here, and then this is the deadline, so we need to have it done like a few days before the actual release or whatever. Like sure, that's fine. Deadlines are supposed to be a thing. Otherwise, you might procrastinate. You might procrastinate and never get it done, right? Fair enough. But in terms of like creative processes and you gotta make up shit, concepts, ideas, how does this monster work? Ecologically, how will it eat, reproduce, all this stuff about a new, even just introducing a new monster that takes quiet, I'm sure like sure, it's great that they have multiple people on the team to think of a monster. Well, at least from what I've seen in the first Monster Hunter, when it first released, and where they had most of the developers, even the ones that weren't actually that involved with like the game making stuff or the asset making stuff, to take a shot at like making a monster. Like one of the music producers had it, one of the I think programmers had one as well. It was really cool stuff, but a lot goes into it and you can't just rush a creative process that's supposed to make you go, wow, look at this monster. And when the wow factor dies out, you're just left with this nice gleaming mist of like or fog of like fascination because the monster is well thought out, and you can't help but appreciate that stuff. It's always really cool.
It's gonna take time. And with such a gigantic roster of high quality monsters, the teams are probably gonna have to be a bit picky about who they bring in. I do think the rosters are gonna get larger and larger for sure, on average, just as these games go. All I'm saying is, don't expect the base game of Monster Hunter 6 to come with 40 staple monsters, 30 frontier monsters, 30 brand new monsters, and 20 monsters we haven't seen in a while. It's gonna be a gradual process. Just desire responsibly. The other thing I want to mention.
That's a really good quote. Desire responsibly. Yeah.
Before we get started, is why it's a good idea to bring these monsters over. Yes,
Okay.
the simple truth of the issue is that we want to fight them. We want to experience them. We want to make their weapons and armor. We want them to have names that we know how to pronounce.
Yeah. Oh my
We
god.
do want all that, yes. But
Sure,
the
yeah.
other thing is, these were good games with good content and good ideas that are simply gone. It's not just about giving us cool new experiences. It's about preserving the creativity and hard work
Yes.
of a lot of people over getting close
That's
to
what I'm
decades
saying.
now.
That's
That
what I'm
might
saying.
sound cheesy, but I do mean it. This content is worth preserving.
No, I get
These
it.
games are worth preserving in some form or another. Alright.
Yeah.
That's been more than enough preamble. No more wasting time. We've got a lot of ground to cover and a lot of monsters to showcase.
So, bro.
So, without further ado, releasing in the year 2007, we have the outstanding MMO Monster Hunter Frontier Online. Today we are covering
yeah.
the first 5 years.
Okay. We back?
MMO.
We back. Okay. Nah. Swear down. That was some bullshit. Okay, we're good. Sorry, audio issue.
Monster Hunter Frontier Online. Today we are covering the first 5 years of its life, from 2007 to 2012.
Oh.
Monster Hunter Frontier Seasons 1 through 10, and Monster Hunter Frontier Forward
Oh,
1
wow.
through 5. Let's get started with the first 3 creations of Frontier, which we've actually seen in the mainline games. So, we actually have Frontier's first 3 original monsters in the main series already. Hypnocatrix, Lavasioth, and Espinas.
Oh,
in the main
these
series
I've
already.
never seen.
Hypnocatrix, Lavasioth,
Nope.
and Espinas.
Nope.
Yeah, the worst
Mentioned,
fight in Monster
I
Hunter World was
saw
the
it.
Frontier original. And honestly, he wasn't that bad of a fight pre-world. I think he was simply turned into a Giratotus clone with a half-based Ignator mechanics. He's pretty good in Generations Ultimate. And Hypnocatrix, though not the coolest monster, is a cool bird wyvern. And I think we're
Yeah,
in
fair.
need of some bird wyverns on the upper echelons
True.
of power.
Very
He's also
true.
got a lot of really cool-looking variations in Frontier, which I'll be touching on later. I don't have the strongest feelings towards Lavasioth or Hypnocatrix. I think they're 2 monsters with a fair amount of potential that I think can be made great, and I wouldn't mind seeing either of them again. They're actually part of the reason we haven't
Alright.
seen Frontier monsters in the main series. Lavasioth and Hypnocatrix were partially created by both the Frontier team and the main series team. Thus,
Oh.
they were brought into Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. When that happened, understandably, Frontier players were upset that the monsters they were paying a subscription to fight were being put in a single payment game. If that was the case, then what was the point of paying for an MMO? And that's a very reasonable question and a very reasonable complaint. As a result, our next monster came to the series much later than he originally may have. Espinas is, of course, the starring monster
Of course,
Frontier,
yes.
the original inspiration of this video, and a spectacular monster in his own right. You gotta understand, this
Tell me, bro.
floored
Talk to me nice.
when he showed up in the Sunbreak trailer.
Ooh,
The
really?
developers said in interviews that this was not going to happen, but by God, it did, and damn, is he one of the highlights.
Oh,
of
wow.
Rise. As his
I mean, hey, it's a positive bait and switch, bro. I'm sure the fans do not mind.
flaming Espinas. I have heard, though I'm not 100% sure how factual this is, that he was planned to be in either Freedom Unite or in Monster Hunter Tri. But his appearance was canned due to Frontier players not wanting to lose the exclusivity of their monsters. And thus, the mainline Frontier drought began.
Why?
And went on for years. I would be more than happy if Espinas was turned into a series regular. His fight is fun and oppressive, his status and elemental prowess is intimidating but not that annoying, his design is exceptional,
Raw,
his weapons
okay.
look amazing. I love fighting this guy, and I want him to stick around. He's also got more variations besides Flaming Espinas to offer as well. A brief aside, Espinas in Sunbreak is a great representation of what we can expect from frontier monsters in the modern art style. Some people have concerns over, or straight up dislike, the designs of some of the frontier monsters. But I think Espinas's artistic rework should put some of those fears at ease. He looks a bit less goofy, especially in the face.
True.
His colors work better
Okay, so these are two different designs for the same monster. Okay.
together. He's more detailed. He's clearly still Espinas, just
Yeah, no. Also, that jaw is very nice looking. It's very intimate. Got that nice, wide, gulping mouth with those teeth, with those intimidating ass teeth. Kind of reminds you of like a, like a crocodile, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, his redesign, well, at least for like the slightly modernized version from what it looks really cool, man. That looks really cool. Also, I'm assuming this is a wyvern. 2 legs and 2 arms, but the 2 arms are wings. What you guys told me, a dragon and wyvern are different because a wyvern has, well, what I just said, 2 legs, 2 arms, but the arms are wings, essentially. But with the dragon, 2 legs, 2 arms, and a pair of wings. That's pretty cool. Crazy distinction, though. Well, it's just slight that if you don't catch it, you won't. But hey, it's okay.
tightened up and refined.
Yeah,
better
yeah,
than
yeah.
he's ever looked. Okay, now let's get to the actually new stuff. For real this time. Akura Vashimu.
Oh wow, this one never seen, bro.
How?
Also, yes, if you saw in the recent video on the title, I put newbie plus a question mark in a parenthesis because I am technically still a newbie, but like I put the question mark there because even I'm not sure of the statement if it's even true. Because of the knowledge I've kind of built up in over like the 2 or 3 months that I've been looking at Monster Hunter stuff.
Have we never had a proper scorpion monster in mainline
True.
Monster Hunter? This kind of Celtis Queen, but she's like a mix of stuff. Akura Vashimu
Fair.
just a full-on scorpion.
Just
Right
plain
off the
badass
bat,
scorpion.
I love the design. Near jet black and
Yeah.
beady red eyes. Growth
And the growth crystals that stick out in terms of design because they're bright and contrasting with this almost jet black appearance. Crisp design, boy. Whee!
of violet crystals on his
Yeah.
claws, head and tail. These little tufts of yellow hairs in between the
Amazing.
slats in his armor.
He's almost arachnid-like with those like type of hair. Well, then again, I suppose it's a common adaptation, like little bugs and stuff.
Not over-designed. You know what you're
Yeah,
looking at
yeah.
and can guess what it can do.
Yeah.
It looks sinister, menacing, and that big wrecking ball of crystals adds that Monster Hunter charm.
Oh yeah.
He's a Carapacian. Same classification
Oh, okay. See, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Carapacians, or like these little guys, I'm pretty sure do grow hairs as well, especially for like sensing vibrations of some sort or whatever. You know, they do grow hairs as well like that. That's pretty cool.
as the Hermitar and Cianatar.
I
If
see.
he
That's why he doesn't have the stinging venomous tail like usual.
does come over, I wonder if he'll be reclassified as a Temnoceran, since
True.
scorpions are arachnids and the Temnocerans are based on spiders. Wouldn't be the first.
Oh, I see.
reclassification. This guy has one of the most
I just said.
bonkers complicated mechanics I have ever seen in a Monster Hunter game. To start,
Really?
Akura Vashimu's tail sprays a liquid internally produced by his body that solidifies into crystal when exposed to air. He uses this for offense and defense, covering important parts of his body and spraying it at enemies. Hunters hit by this liquid slowly begin to be covered in a hardening crystal that drains stamina and can explode after a period of time.
That
Now,
is
this can make
horrifying.
fighting him very dangerous. And luckily,
Bro, imagine inhaling that. Oops.
His tail can be chopped off to prevent him from firing off this liquid.
Fair.
So, how does one chop off his tail? Strap yourselves in, folks. We're about to set a precedent for how crazy this game can get.
What do you mean? Don't you just hit the tail over and...
The
Okay.
color of its blood changes in tandem
Bro.
with the breaking of his body parts.
That's
and when
insane.
His blood changes color, it also changes up his attack patterns.
Oh my god. That's insane. It's subtle enough of a tell to tell you, hey, this is the pattern, this is the state of his body. But like the fact his blood changes is insane.
Will need to break his body parts and cycle through these phases of blood coloration if you want to cut off his tail. Here's the
That
process.
is crazy.
You ready for this? You gotta break the crystals on his head and pincers with bludgeoning
Okay.
damage. Then get the actual
All
part
right.
breaks for the head and pincers themselves with severing damage. Breaking these
Bro.
parts individually knocks him on his back, and you can attack his tail. Do this 3 times, and if his health is low enough and his blood is blue, you can chop his tail off. But because you, if his blood is red, he can use his tail to recoat his pincers and head with the crystals.
Oh, that's bullshit.
And because double you, when you do cut off his tail, he will go out of his way to eat his own tail to spite you out of your carves. Oh,
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's bullshit, man. That is bullshit. It's like if you know, I'm pretty sure lizards do this, right? You know how if they cut obviously this guy, this black scorpion monster, I don't know. It's kind of cute, I'm not gonna lie. Um like when its tail gets lopped off, it fucking eats it. That's like one of them lizards let go of their tail on purpose, but instead of letting it go, they just take it with them, steal it back, and just run away. That's bullshit.
and that orange hair between his plates of armor,
Yeah.
that inflicts paralysis.
That's some what?
I love this. This is actually
That is really complex. Wow. That's such a structured boss. Almost too rigid for my taste, I can't lie. Almost too rigid. But so far, allow it, bro. Allow it. It's amazing.
insane, but I love it. It's
Yeah.
borderline too complicated.
I'm
But
saying.
I have to imagine the first few times you get this cut, it feels amazing. Here's the thing. This guy's not that difficult. He's not that powerful. This is the starting line. We don't
Are
get
you
monsters
serious?
with this multi-layered part break insanity again, but this is the nutty creativity.
That's crazy though. He said it's not even that powerful, it's not even that strong, but that's the best part. For having your monsters, instead of like having a larger health pool, you give it a more complicated system. That's a nice change of pace in terms of like challenges.
One can expect from this game. I think he's awesome. I think his gimmick is memorable. I think
Oh, yeah.
he's fantastic with his incredibly dark brown, near black shell,
Amazing,
small
monster design.
looking red eyes, and the crystal armor. And scorpions are just sick. We've been needing scorpion monsters in
True.
Monster Hunter. I'm gonna give this guy an 8 out of 10 on the want meter. I think
I give him a 7. I think if I don't know, looking at the perspective of someone new, I'd probably get thumped by this thing. Right? Fair enough. But like, do I want to see it? You know what? Fucking yes. What? It's such a cool boss concept. Well, not concept. I know it's real, but like from the mechanics alone that I am hearing, it sounds fucking amazing.
this would be an excellent mid-tier monster.
Yeah, man.
Akura Jebia.
Oh god, that's a longer tail. I'm assuming a variation.
This is a, I think, named subspecies of Akura Vashimu.
Oh,
There's a
subspecies,
couple of
okay.
monsters like this, where they're kind of considered subspecies, kind of considered their own thing. The wiki and some other things I read.
Yeah, this is where it get people have told me like some of the stuff in Monster Hunter. I forgot what if a specific game was mentioned, but yeah, the classification stuff sometimes because it's not super clear. Some of them can get kind of messy, but hey, it's fine. It's fine. It's just some classifications.
Had kind of conflicting stances on this. If it has a unique name, I'll keep him in the regular section.
Fair?
Unfortunately,
Okay.
there's not a ton to say here that wasn't already said. He's a bit sharper looking, a bit sleeker. He traded
True.
purple crystals and a brown shell for icy blue and a dark bluish green. He also prefers swamps.
Almost
over
like
desert.
almost like a very dark turquoise or cyan. I think.
Icy
Yeah.
blue and a dark bluish green. He also prefers swamps over deserts. Jebia differentiates himself the most in his moveset. He's got a variety of physical and ranged attacks that I didn't see Vashimu use when I was
Oh, wow,
watching
okay.
gameplay. He's got a more aggressive and violent
Nice.
fighting style. He's got harsher clawed and tail.
Yeah, because with the original species that you saw, he's very defensive, isn't he? Okay, you know, you gotta break my stuff first before you can knock me on my ass and then get my tail. But sometimes I'll eat my tail because fuck you. But like with this one, it seems a lot more like versatile, almost assault like, you know? Nice mix of range and like melee attacks as well. Really cool, like, you know, differentiation even from like even us having it as like a subspecies.
Slams and will fling the crystallized chunks off of his own body in
Oh,
exploding projectiles.
nice.
His fight
Okay.
looks like a lot of fun, but
Yeah, yeah.
that's his biggest differentiation. I think I like Vashimu's look a little bit more. Jebia isn't bad,
Fair.
but I don't need both. I'll give him a 6 out of 10 on the...
I mean, I'd like to see this more because it's honestly this is more like sure it's aggressive, but it's almost more like a sort of beginner friendly one. But I'll be honest, bro. I can understand why he's like I prefer to kind of see the like original Vashimu because like bro, holy shit. Original Vashimu just looks genuinely sinister, bro. The design is amazing. Like sure with this one, it sure you can I suppose you can call it a subspecies. Fair, I suppose there's enough differences, right, to make up for it. But in terms of like design, oh, the original Vashimu, bro. Wow. Sinister looking. You got those, especially in the artwork that you saw. Um, if we can find any here. Okay, we can't find it. Oh, whatever. But like in his design, you know, you got this jet black, and then you have these like yellowish, not yellowish. It is kind of yellow, like you know, hairs. Um, the design is just overall amazing, bro. Contrasting jet black, like not scales. What is it called? Carapace, carapaces, or you know, you get it. The exoskeleton, almost a jet black exoskeleton with a high contrast, almost glowing looking crystalline growths on his like on the back of his claws and in his tail. It just works, man. It works, especially because it contrasts.
want meter. If they did bring him back, I'd be willing to bet they'd expand on him a little bit
Fair,
to
fair.
make him a bit more different from Vashimu.
Yeah, especially if you want to actually say it's a subspecies, you know.
Bericurosu.
Oh God, lightning wyvern.
This is where I apologize to my English-speaking viewers for the non-Romanized names for you to remember. And where I apologize to my viewers
It's okay.
who do know Japanese for butchering the pronunciation of some of these names. I think I
yeah.
got some of them down. I've been reading and typing them dozens of times over for the past couple of days.
Fair.
So I think I got these okay. Anyway, this is another rather exceptional monster. He's the apex
Really?
predator of the Gorge map, and is one of the few monsters characterized predominantly by his intelligence. His body is specially designed to protect himself from and control the extremely powerful thunder element his body produces. He can use his horn and the odd-looking spikes on his back to precisely maneuver the lightning he
That's
wields,
insane.
firing it from his mouth in a beam, blasting off sparks from his tail, coating his whole body in it. Or
Since it has that intelligence, bro, imagine having one. Imagine being like a dragon rider and not in like the How to Train Your Dragon way. I mean, like the one they mentioned where there was this kind of lost art of like having dragon. Oh, I suppose wyvern, right? Yes, it's a wyvern. It's a lightning wyvern. But imagine having one as a pet, bro. That would be mad. Especially since like he said, oh, this one's characterized for their intelligence. That would mean dopamine centers.
directing it to the
What am I
whip-like
saying, bro?
appendages coming out of his wings. Now, his body is one complex machine of working components that allow him to direct his lightning and not be harmed by it. So, if his body gets damaged, he runs the risk of harming himself. This is where his intelligence comes in. This is how he preserves himself from himself.
Smart.
And where he goes from fairly impressive to legitimately unforgettable. To protect himself, Bericurosu will learn how his opponent fights.
Nah, combat adaptability is crazy.
And change up his fight tactics according to his analysis. In game terms, this means he alters his
reads
attack
you.
patterns depending on the weapons
Yes.
hunters bring to his fight. How exactly these changes work and how a Bericurosu compensates for multiple hunters, I don't know at this moment.
Fair.
Additionally,
Fair.
tying his intelligence and lightning even further together, he is smart enough to recognize when he's about to be captured, and will opt to overload his body with lightning and end himself.
That's
rather than
insane.
taken alive. I think the potential for Bericurosu in a 6th generation game with the progressively more advanced monster AI we're getting is limitless.
Ooh, yeah.
I think
okay, intelligence-wise, right? Do you think it would be like some bullshit if it could read the 4 weapons that the hunters have, whether you're running like hammer, battle horn, twin blades, and great sword, or whatever the fuck you're running with your team, right? Or maybe 2 people have the same weapons or the same class of weapons. Do you think it would be cool if he actually did kind of optimize his own like fighting style because of said reading? Let's say like when he reaches half health, he starts adapting to your team. That would be sick. Because like he asked like, oh, I don't know how it would be like with 4 people. It could be like that. Like if we're talking like the AI is like complex enough, right?
it would be so much fun to try
Yeah.
out all his different potential behaviors with different weapon classes. This could be a really special fight. His design is fairly solid. I love his pterodactyl wolf head shape. I think his whip talon wings are really stand out and look pretty badass. These whips are features he totally doesn't really need, but I think absolutely enhances him. I love his varied yet very kind of
he does have hooks on his wing. What the fuck?
understated color palette with this mix of oranges and blues and yellows and other earthy colors. They work in a way that he doesn't look like a mess, but he's very, very colorful.
True. It's almost like a chicken, I'm not gonna lie. Almost like a chicken.
His cylindrical looking back
Not
tube
so chicken
spikes
anymore.
and
Okay,
odd
fair.
looking flat tassel tails coming out of him look a bit strange, but they aren't deal breakers for me. I think they make his design look a bit too busy, but there's reasons for them there in his biology and they help him function. So I'm not going to complain
Fair
too
enough.
much. A few minor tweaks, and I think he'll look great. Additionally, Bericurosu's got a number of pretty powerful and cool-looking relatives that I'll get to later that could also be added in the wake of his addition to the main series.
Okay, fair.
I'm giving this a 9 out of 10 on the one.
Raw, okay, he liked this one.
Fantastic combination of lots of great ideas. Paria Purya.
Okay, this one I could pronounce a little easier.
Here's a weird one, but a good kind of weird. He is this ultra gluttonous fish-like flying wyvern. Sharing
His
the shape of
greed
a
sickens me.
tigress. Also like Tigrex,
Oh.
he's a flying wyvern, sharing the shape of a Tigrex. Also like Tigrex,
Okay.
he's a physical powerhouse and
Fair.
pretty deceptively large. He's got a lot of slow, heavy-hitting physical attacks, but it's his eating habits that make him more interesting.
It's his heat, is it? No, the monster's fine. It's the way he fucking eats. Alright, fine.
Paria Purya
Tell
might
it to me.
move like a Tigrex, but it eats like a Devil Joe. This thing
Oh.
will swallow up anything it can get. Animals, hunters, stray chunks of meat, straight up just dirt.
Oh!
Yeah. Stray chunks of meat, straight up just dirt.
Did he? Oh, I thought he ate the random monster that was flying. Okay.
Yeah, it's got an attack where it'll just spit projectiles of dirt at you.
What
and
the
it can
fuck?
automatically stun. This
Wow, okay.
indiscriminate eating habit is where his core mechanic comes in. And it almost creates a bit of a mini game. Paria Purya will drool a certain color, showing what type of meat it wants to eat. Be it drugged, tainted, or tinged meat. While it's eating all this meat meant to inflict status effects, he actually has internal organs that work to protect him whilst he consumes all this
Are you
tampered with
serious?
food. Feed it the right kind, and Paria Purya will gradually get stuffed full and get slower. Feed it the wrong kind, and Paria Purya will throw a
That's insane. You literally got a feed, bro.
tantrum and attack wildly. Feeding him enough results in him slowly plodding around the arena, ignoring the hunters as it struggles to digest the amount of food he took in. It's a great damage opportunity, but I almost kind of feel bad that you
Oh my
feed this
God.
thing to the point of making it sick so you can beat the shit out of it.
Okay, that is kind of terrible. Oh no. Oh my god. I feel... Bro, listen to me. Have you ever had, because I've had this happen to me before. Have you ever had a situation in where you are eating and you're eating good, but you are literally in like a genuine fight or flight state. Like nothing matters right now. This is important. I've had it happen to me before. The things it does to your stomach is awful work. Awful, bro. So while you're fighting hunters and you're still just gorging yourself on meat, that is some like insane dedication, but also his downfall, unfortunately. I suppose this would classify him as an opportunistic eater because, like, sure, I suppose I don't know if he eats plants, okay, but like with a metabolism that crazy, it's fair that he's kind of carnivorous. Sure, I suppose, but like, wow, man, he does he ever get a food coma? I mean, then again, you are leading him into one with the amount of food you're giving him.
Speaking of making him sick, in order to purge himself of this extra food, in order to weaponize all
He's
the
gonna
food you've been
vomit,
force-feeding him,
man.
Paria Purya implements his ability that he's most famed for. He vomits.
I
it.
fucking
He
knew
vomits
it.
The dirt he consumed. He vomits the
That is disgusting. Oh!
meat he's been fed. He can even vomit up torrents of water. He regurgitates so violently that he often coughs up parts of his own inside.
What the fuck do you mean? He's literally just chaos in a few scales and fish skin and fish parts. What is this?
And that's actually why we hunt them. A lot of body parts
Really?
of Paria Purya are useless, covered in unwashable mucus and immensely
Ew.
odorous. But the contents of his stomach can often yield valuable materials. I think this is far and away the best gross out monster. There's
Fair.
nothing quite like him. Fundamentally, I like the idea of a monster using its absolutely repulsive biology
Yes.
to ward off would-be threats. He's
That's your anti-hunter version of a skunk. So there you go.
kind of ugly. He's super gross. He's really weird.
He's
But
this-
I think you
Look
need
at his fucking Discord mod aura just following him, bro. Oh my
that
god.
in a game series that has a lot of super badass, elementally powerful,
Yes.
physical brute monsters. Monsters like Paria
I love it, bro. You got fucking lightning wyverns, lightning dragons, whatever. King of the sea wielding like this fucking Zio-electric lightning or whatever the fuck, right? With its bones and then just going crazy with it. You got King of the Skies raining down fireballs and shit. And then you just have this guy just
Purya help flesh the world out.
yeah,
Make it
no,
feel
that's
more
fair.
diverse.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
called him ugly, but it's a
It's also a lot more like it's also a lot more real in the sense of like biologicalness. Like spitting your insides out, bro. What? Come on. But we do see this. We do see some animals literally shoot out body parts to get their meal. I'm not even joking. Although not their fucking organs. There have been I think it's called a sling jaw fish or whatever, where it literally slings its jaw, like kind of like contract forward. It's kind of insane. You should look up like a clip of it. But like yeah, some animals genuinely out here doing that bullshit. Regurgitating, not that far from it.
well suiting ugly. The big dead looking fish eyes, the bulky imposing body frame juxtaposed with a lot
Yep.
of these fishy elements, the nice looking earthy color palette with a lot of oranges and browns and yellows and cream colors. And I kind of like these fox ears he's got that somehow don't clash too much with the fish aesthetic he's got going on and
True.
serve to relate him to the very feline pseudo-wyvern category.
Uh-huh.
I think this is a really solid entry. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 for one.
He would not make a good cat, bro. He would not make a good cat. Meow Mix bag is getting deleted within seconds.
Kamu and Nono Orugaron.
Oh, again, never seen these guys before. Ooh, is that Tornado? Holy shit.
These are the monsters that took male and female monster pairs to another level. We have a
Really?
pair of wolves who fight in tandem with one another. These
Wow.
two are some of the most fiercely loyal monsters in the whole series.
Oh, yes.
They fight together. They guard each other while they sleep. They will
You've instantly sold it to me.
mourn one another if their mate dies.
Amazing.
The amount of personality these two
Yeah.
have as a pair is really deeply explored in gameplay, and is something that a modern Monster Hunter game could probably push really far.
Yes,
That
yes.
component alone makes them very interesting to me. They're not the craziest monsters in combat.
Of course,
It's really
yeah.
the combination of the two that drives the difficulty of their fights. They themselves individually don't have a lot of over-the-top powers. They have a lot of physical attacks, the ability to dodge pitfall traps, they have quills they can
wow.
fire from their body, and their roars are capable of inflicting damage. And they're straight up just the TIE Fighter sound effects. They do get a nice enhancement in G rank, where they can augment their physical attacks with ice.
Ooh.
Design-wise, they are Monster Hunter-ified wolves. Great designs
Fair.
that look distinct and recognizable, but they're not at the peak of Monster Hunter visual creativity. The mohawks they have help them stand out, and I think those are pretty great features. They don't look goofy or over the top, they just look good. Kamu and Nono would be great additions to mainline Monster Hunter. I would love to see how modern AI and animations could push their teamwork and loyalty even further. These two have a lot of life and personality in them. And as I'll get to in the next video, they pave the way for another fantastic monster entry. I'm going to give Kamu Nono Orugaron a 9 out of 10 as a package deal for monsters I would like to see. You got to do the two.
Fair.
together. Laviente.
Ooh, oh my god, it's colossal. Bro, look at it. What the fuck? We're fighting that? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
One of the largest monsters
Oh,
in
yeah.
the entire series. His only competition being Dolometer and Zoramagdaros. This guy is godly powerful, and a very mysterious ancient monster, not even considered an elder dragon. The base
Really?
Laviente fought in Frontier was found awakening from beneath an island after decades and decades of not eating. Its goal was to consume everything it could to satiate his colossal form. And should he run out of food on his home island and make landfall, it would be utter devastation. Laviente is an absolute leviathan, capable of wiping out whole ecosystems due to his ravenous hunger and the volcanic activity it can trigger simply by moving through the earth. This thing
Okay, so we have a basically ecosystem ender type of like, let's say, elder dragon classification. I mean, I don't know what you would classify this as, but hey, it's elder dragon level.
Localized, slithering apocalypse. In terms of its combat prowess, as if its sheer physical might wasn't already enough, Laviente is capable of breathing fire, powerful charged up blasts of it. He can emit paralyzing electrical shocks, can misshape the earth around him, cause flying rocks to hurl towards targets, can release an explosive powder, cause geysers of erupting lava simply by burrowing into the ground, and his roar is powerful enough to create twisters.
What
Laviente
the fuck?
itself is immensely powerful.
Yeah, you think?
But the danger is amplified by the way it rips up and shifts the environment around it, causing cataclysms simply by moving. And this is where I think Laviente's greatest potential is found. He has a decent arsenal of abilities, he is strong, but he's also an old school giant monster. Monster. The spectacle novelty of these fights can run their course when the monsters let itself get hit for 2 minutes straight before doing anything. Point being, this is a very difficult thing to execute in a fun way. But
yes,
I think having the battle be against the world unfolding around you could be the bump that Laviente would need.
True, yeah.
Spectacular encounter. Imagine having the ground rip apart beneath your feet. Lava leaking up from the earth, making the ground progressively more dangerous. Trees and boulders flung to and fro at you haphazardly. With all the increased movement options we've been getting as hunters, this could be a super fun and intense mechanic.
This could be solid. Yo, nah, this would be gas. I'm not gonna lie. Holy shit. That's true, yeah. I did observe that as well. You're starting to get a lot more and more movement options. So that it's like if your combat is somewhat slow paced, make the movement feel smoother. Make it move nice and smooth. Make it flow. Make it butter, you know? Fair enough.
Having Laviente turn the world into his weapon is the vision that I think the developers have for this monster. And it's absolutely possible. It'd be a ton of work, but I can see the potential. And the fact that I want what he could be as opposed to what he was in Frontier does dock him a few points.
Down, yeah.
Not many, but a few. I do think
that's
a
fair.
6th generation Laviente could be a masterpiece.
If pulled off,
Some other points to note. He is the original siege fight. Yeah, Kulve Taroth did not invent this mechanic. Her fight borrowed the several separate groups of hunters whittling away at one massive health pool over several hunts from Laviente. And I think she and Safi Jiva showed how good this mechanic can get. Bringing in the original siege monster and having him ramped up to 11 with the modern siege mechanics would be a really good idea.
Oh yeah,
Another
actually.
thing to note is that he has a subspecies that addresses some of the boring big monster concerns already. Berserk Laviente is much more of a straight up fight than the original Laviente. We'll talk more about him in the second video.
He's smaller at least.
Finally, I think his design is excellent. The orange, greens, massive tusks, the snake-like texture, the giant body.
Palette-wise, he's almost Chinese dragon-like. Like from what it reminds me of.
He's spanning back fin. His facial structure is evocative of an Eastern mythological dragon.
Yeah.
I think he's flat out perfectly designed. Great color scheme. Nothing looks out of place or excessive. He looks pretty phenomenal. I'm gonna give this guy a 7 out of 10 for how much I want him. I think a phenomenal monster is there, and the budget and technology to fulfill the vision of this monster are there too. But the giant monsters are massive gambles.
Yep.
Very difficult to balance right, very easy to get wrong, and probably immensely expensive. Luckily, Laviente already has a pretty strong foundation to build upon if they ever decide to bring him back.
Yeah.
Duragawa.
Again, very Tigrex-like. Very Tigrex type build. Just doesn't have really the wings.
We got another pseudo-flying wyvern from Frontier, and another good monster.
Raw.
Whereas Paria Purya is a physical powerhouse, Duragawa is a swift and agile hunter with more elemental
Where is
prowess,
bro wings?
Where Paria Purya is a loud, disgusting, and voracious consumer of anything it can fit its mouth around, Duragawa is a stealthy, sly, and secretive monster that kept itself off the guild's radar for a long time. I like the dichotomy of these two against one another, because it shows how different you can make monsters of the same type.
Yes.
One a gross-out, gluttonous fish, the other a cunning fox. Both pseudo-flying wyverns.
Yeah,
Doubling
yeah.
back to its elemental power. This is Duragawa's biggest mechanic. He is all about ice. He can create swirling tornadoes of ice merely by swiping his claws.
That's
Breathe
insane.
Large blasts of it, amplify his attacks with it, and encase his head, tail, and claws in it. He looks great transformed like this. In fact, he looks
Wow.
great in general. I think the teal coloration and the orange accent
Yeah.
of his claws and spines were
Also buys into his like cold theme. Is as stated, yeah, he can manipulate ice essentially.
works really well. I like the permanent snarl he has, where his teeth don't properly fit
Yeah.
his mouth.
Yeah,
Gives him
true.
this feral appearance. Only thing I don't love is this big artichoke tail and looking thing. Mostly a damn good design. Really standout colors. Before committing to knowing the names, I always remembered the teal and orange one. Duragawa has one major roadblock for me. His niche. Berioth competes with Duragawa pretty hard. We already have an
true.
upper mid-level ice-producing pseudo-flying wyvern. Additionally, you got
True.
other ice armor monsters like Zamfir.
Yeah.
But Berioth is the big obstacle. And it's not even that I would mind if Duragawa took Berioth's niche for a little bit. And frankly, on top of that, I don't even care all that much if they were both in the same game together. If there's two monsters occupying a similar niche, I'm all for both of them. But I realize that consumes more game development resources. Going towards very
Smart. He's being
monsters.
very smart about his like considerations here. Awesome stuff, man.
It's just that we have a monster who fits this base archetype description. So I don't have as strong a desire to fight him as I do for some of these other monster concepts that we don't really have in the main series, if that makes sense. I would personally prioritize monsters that are more unlike anything I have ever fought. That's not a knock on Duragawa. I just don't think he's been dealt the best hand in this scenario. Duragawa does have one thing that helps him escape that niche, though: his habitat. A lot of the time you'll fight him in an arena akin to the towers, but he also prefers very dry and warm maps like the Gorge, and that's a little bit more impactful than one might think. Ice monsters are one of the most, maybe the most, region-locked groups of
True, that's a really good... Yeah. He's not wrong, man.
I mean, think about it for a second. Geodrome, Blangong,
Yeah.
Zamtrio,
Yep.
Gameth, Glacial Ignactor, Bayou.
Yeah, if you look at something and you're like, he looks like he's from like a tundra type of, or a winter snowy type of ecosystem, you're probably right.
Berioth, Gosharag, Lagombi, Yukonlos, Jade Baroth, all stuck on snow maps. The best you really get out there is a couple of wandering monsters like Velkhana and Lunagaron. Having Duragawa shake this map pigeonholing for this element type up, I don't think that would be insignificant. I think he needs to undergo some attack overhauls for me to be really excited to see him in a mainline game. Put simply, I think he's a good monster that does not have as much new to offer as some of his contemporaries. I think I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 for how much I'd like to see him. Doraguosu.
Wait, let me see that. Let me see that artwork.
Doraguosu.
Oh wow. Oh, subspecies? I recognize it.
A subspecies or relative of Bericurosu. Kind of like Akura Jebia to Akura Vashimu.
The claw.
And again, similar to that situation.
The claw whips.
A ton new to say.
Gave
His
it
color
away.
palette shifts to white and green with some orange, especially when enraged. The fur on his back and head will shift from white to orange and stand on end a little bit more. This is in opposition to his cousin's more earthy colors. He trades the arid gorge map for the snowy mountain peaks, and his thunder element has been replaced with the dragon element. Overall, I don't like
that's a strong upgrade.
Colors quite as much as Bericurosu. I do think the white and green look good in motion on the snow, better than they look in his render, but I kinda wish they kept the fur white. For whatever reason, maybe it's just how bright it is, I don't especially love the orange he gets when he rages. The other sticking point for me is that I really appreciated the specially designed body that Bericurosu had to handle the specifications of the thunder element. That made him really interesting to me.
True.
Slapping dragon on
that's a good point.
that body kind of makes sense because it looks very lightning-like.
Sure.
But I feel like the ultra-specific biology of Bericurosu made him special.
Yes.
Intriguing. So just swapping the elements isn't my favorite.
True. Oh my god, this is true. Especially, okay, with a case like this, I will say you'd need to kind of make him a variant at this point, which, from my knowledge, is like, sure, you can kind of say it's a subspecies, but it's so different that you might as well consider it a variation of the original monster, because, like, if you swap it to dragon element, like, sure, it can behave, well, it looks like it behaves like lightning. Essentially, it's a different element. Especially the fact it has, psychological effects as well to other monsters. Kind of insane. But yeah, not like lightning. You'd have to adapt their biology to that stuff.
Favorite thing. Doesn't kill this monster for me, but
Yeah.
I really liked reading up on how the original body was so especially designed. That being said, Doraguosu is a cool monster.
Yeah.
He looks really, really good in movement, better than I thought he was going to when I was just looking at his picture. He has the benefit of being related to a monster that I already really love. I think the dragon element coming out of a white-colored monster on a snow map is a really, really cool visual.
That,
It's
yes.
the use of the dragon element, with a lot of scattershot projectiles, physical augmentation, huge slam attacks.
I think his fur glowing a bit more to the red side instead of orange when he's enraged would fit a lot better, since, like, dragon element, bro. It's red.
If Bericurosu was in a game, I could see Doraguosu being a monster in a title update. Hey there, this is editing process, Connor. So I'm going to interject here in the Doraguosu section a little bit because I got more information on him while I was working on editing the video, not in the scripting process. So
Okay.
I still stand by what I said about I liked the very specific biology of Bericurosu, and putting another element on there doesn't quite stick with me, but I do think it's valid that the dragon element is very thunder-like. It is probably
that's what I'm saying.
the best parallel to it, and so out of all of the other four, that one probably makes sense, especially with him.
Yeah.
As someone who did get very, very attached to how this creature was constructed, I think Dragon Element is a sensible enhancement to his abilities. Some of the
Someone held him at gunpoint, bro. I'm kidding.
Things that I didn't bring up is due to the fact that Doraguosu has the dragon element within him, it pushes the potential of the creature past what Bericurosu could ever do. So this is a creature that goes through more drastic changes. In terms of more powerful versions, Bericurosu only has a hardcore version as far as I'm aware, whereas Doraguosu goes up into some of the higher echelons of power, such as a supremacy species, a
what the fuck?
Zenith species when we get to Monster Hunter Frontier Z in the next video. He has the Phantom Doraguosu, which is a permanently enraged version. So I do think that's kind of cool, and I'm going to give him a little bit more credit than I did in the original script. Dragon element makes sense as a replacement for Thunder with this biology. As someone who's not the biggest fan of some of the dragon subspecies, because it's supposed to be this very mysterious element, and sometimes it just feels a little bit just kind of tacked onto a creature, especially in terms of, I'd say, Ebony Odogaron. I think this one makes the most sense here, and they do the most with it, where they actually push the potential of this creature further and further to these super high levels of power because he has the dragon element, and he has his intelligence, and he has his flight prowess, and he has his biology, and the dragon element is able to push Doraguosu to levels that his base species are just incapable of getting to. As someone who is originally not a huge fan of just kind of putting the dragon element on a
just slapping it on,
wired for Thunder, I do really appreciate the fact that they took this super powerful element and used it to enhance the potential of this animal to the nth degree, really. So for that reason, I find Doraguosu a lot more fascinating than I had originally considered. As I'll talk about later in this video, I'm not sure if we will see hardcore or supremacy monsters again if these core monsters in and of themselves come back. But if we ever see Bericurosu and Doraguosu again, I hope that the dragon element kicking this creature...
This is the first time I've heard of even such a thing as like a supremacy? What? On what species? What the fuck?
Up into the stratospheres of its potential is something that gets carried over. And I think for that reason, I'm pretty sure in the original script he has a 7 out of 10 for how much I want him. I do think I'm going to bump that one to an 8 for Doraguosu, just because I think that extra level of his biology, that extra level of his potential, makes him a lot more interesting than a lot of subspecies and a lot of variants sometimes are. Alrighty, we will get back to the regular video now. Guren Zaburu.
Ooh, looks very familiar. That head crest, I mean. Very, very familiar looking head crest. That one like that one like a...
This is just a damn
big fish.
Solid monster. I like how he looks. I like how he fights. He's got a few interesting shenanigans, but nothing too ridiculous. I really like this guy. Guren Zaburu is an ultra-territorial, brutal flying wyvern, given the title of Barbarian Wyvern.
Damn!
He's got a no-holds-barred, fight to the death, take no prisoners type of vibe. There's a lot of those in Monster Hunter, but his aggression is simply on another level. He'll use his entire body to fight you.
Just
full
damn.
Everything with reckless abandon. His singular horn is his primary method of attack, but he'll use his bite, tail, wings, everything. He'll even leap up into the air and slam his whole weight down. That's one thing I like about him.
Pretty Duna move there, but holy shit. I can't even call him like Crash Out because like attacking with reckless abandon. I mean, that's fair, but you can't really call him Crash Out. I don't think he picks fights, or at least, then again, this is my new introduction to the monster. But like, damn, he's absolutely tweaking in the fight. He'll use fucking anything. That body sound though, very Duna with that one. To be fair, they're heavy.
He doesn't fly a lot. But a lot of the bigger, stronger, heavier flying wyverns make next to no use of their wings in combat. He does so at least a little bit. Although he's predominantly a physical attacker, he does have a decent grab bag of tricks to help him stand out. He has a fairly standard array of water elemental attacks, mainly beams and projectiles. He does have some cool ways of dealing with being immobilized. He can fight back when stuck in pitfall traps, and he can release a paralyzing gas from his underside after he himself is paralyzed. Ooh. I love the idea of a monster being able to counter some of the best damage-dealing opportunity-creating tools that we have in our arsenal, both out of natural defenses or the sheer will to muscle through them. His final weapon is the spikes on his tail. He can fire them off to stick into the ground. In stormy weather, these spikes act as lightning rods, summoning bolts of lightning conveniently when players stand near. This is a double-edged sword, and a desperate move, however. Guren Zaburu can be shocked by these bolts himself, and a wise hunter would use this ability against him. I really like this guy. I love the dark blue colors with the red accents. I think raw, aggressive, physical attacker monsters are a lot of fun. He does some attacks that other flying wyverns of his shape don't do. I think the counters to traps are inventive. I think his design feels very classic Monster Hunter. There's nothing I'd really change about him visually. And he's got one more tidbit that I really do like about him. Despite his ultra-aggressive nature, this behavior is reserved only for perceived threats. Communities of herbivores will actually live around Guren Zaburu. Oh, wow! Because he's more than content to eat plants and insects, and lives peacefully alongside them. He effectively serves as a guard dog against other large predators. I would love to see this interaction and dynamic explored in modern Monster Hunter. I'm gonna give this guy a 9 out of 10 for how much I like him. I really like him. Ruko Diora.
Holy wing membranes, what is that? Bro's genuinely got elytras on, what the fuck? Look at them wings, bro. Super vibrant wings. And also horns. Look at that.
Okay, so we've gotten through Frontier's first 10 expansions, and we are now on Monster Hunter Frontier Forward. Forward brought a fairly hefty new chunk of content to Frontier, and with that chunk is Frontier's first original Elder Dragon, Ruko Diora. And Ruko Diora brought with him a brand new mechanic and status, magnetism. This guy fights by ripping chunks up out of the ground to defend itself or hurl at others. The scales it releases from its wings are electrically charged, and whenever those scales
bro, I've seen the magnet spike before, right? But a monster with, like, magnet as its, like, main attack? Hey, yo. Nah, that's sick as fuck. I've never even thought of that. Of course, it's elements. Of course, man.
I'm into contact with are subject to the magnetic influence of Ruko Diora.
Yeah.
He can move objects around, lift up chunks of the ground, and even push and pull hunters who get magnetized. Ruko Diora can even amplify the dragon element his body creates with his electricity to even further push its power. The electrical charge
bro's an Elder Dragon. Holy fuck.
He possesses is so powerful and so consistent that he is even capable of muscling through paralysis and continuing to move whilst being inflicted with the status. Ruko Diora's powers are fascinating.
Oh, wow.
His only
I mean, if electricity is running through, paralysis is, like, essentially not being able to send signals there. If you can just emit electricity to the point you can still, like, fucking move, tell your muscles to fucking move, and they do, you know what? Fair game.
Drawback.
Just muscling through it.
Is that there are other monsters in mainline Monster Hunter who have taken his core gimmick and expanded on it. Narwa and Ibushi do a lot of what he does. Ripping up chunks out of the ground with their wind and magnetism is core to their fight. And by simple virtue of them being newer and on a better engine, they add a level of spectacle that Ruko Diora was unable to show. They do, however, lack the ability to manipulate hunters on the same level that Ruko Diora can. This is a very remediable issue, though. You could get nutty with a modern Ruko Diora. Have him lift hunters up into the air, send them flying, send them careening into one another, have them lock in place with your metal armor, let him slow
that would make really, oh my god,
down your attacks by pushing back on your metal weapons. some
True.
Magneto versus Wolverine
Type shit, yeah.
Oh, and his big thing in Frontier was that he attacked a major human fortress. Let him turn the cannons and ballista on the hunters. Go crazy, do something like that. This is just a handful of ideas.
Oh, yeah.
I think with magnetism, the sky is the absolute limit. It's...
Especially with the weapons, man. The hunters use that thing. Woo!
such an effective weapon against people who...
Dude, if you enable... Oh my god, that would be cool, but fucking annoying. If, like... Let's say when he reaches certain thresholds of like health lowering, he will disarm you, and you gotta pick your weapon back up, bro.
Who predominantly use metal armor and metal weapons and metal installations and metal fortifications. It is so ripe for creativity. Just imagine a monster who could turn nearly your full arsenal against you, both that you're wearing and in the fortress itself. I think the best way to balance this is that he can only really manipulate one hunter at a time, and the other hunter have to work to break his focus. Not too sure how you'd balance this for a single player, but probably just get a magnet-proof skill or something like that. Sure. I think there's something really, really special here. I like him design-wise, too. The dark scale pattern contrasted on his gorgeous, vibrant wings.
Yes!
The extremely underrated and rarely implemented V-wing shape. His rather slender frame, which highlights how his might comes from his manipulation of his electricity, not his physical strength. Yeah. The dichotomy of his massive wings with his scrawnier body. I think his horns are... a little bit messy. Something doesn't quite click, but they don't look bad per se.
It looks a little too stiff. A little too stiff, like I might stab myself with my own horns type of stiff.
And the rest of his head looks properly badass.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna need some enhancements for him to really shine in a post-Storm Serpent era. But I think it's a very attainable goal. I'm gonna give him an 8 out of 10 for how much I'd like to see him.
Fuck yeah, dude. Oh, them themes, boys. Swear down. Eventually, bro.
Unknown. The Black Flying One.
Who is bro? This is a fucking Akuma. What the f- Oh yeah, no, you're fucking scary. I get it, bro. Okay, beam attack. Yeah. Oh wow.
Yep, that's its name. That's its official name.
Unknown.
I found out that it has, I guess, a nickname, maybe? Apparently, in some versions of the game, hunters fighting Unknown would be listed as fighting Raro. So, maybe that's its name? Might become its name? I don't know. At face value, it looks like a black and red Rathian. How it's related to the Wraths? We don't know. Where does it make its nest? We don't know. Is it dimorphic, like the rats?
We don't know.
What's the source of its power? Why is it so violent? How many of them are there? What's their natural habitat? What do they eat? How do they interact with other wildlife? We don't know. They are enormously enigmatic. Tough to track. Dangerous.
Biggest selling point is very mysterious. Very mysterious wyvern.
To get close to and damn hard to kill. Their most notable quality is their bottomless well of anger. These are hateful. Damn near...
Yeah, you think? Look at its fucking design. Black and red. I used to have that palette, bro. Listen, in one of the most mentally ill moments of my life, I was picking black and red palettes, bro. You think? Hateful is not enough of a word to describe, bro.
Evil creatures. The standard Unknown has 5 levels of enrage.
Oh god.
It will never revert to its base state.
Of course.
It will never de-escalate. Once it's angry, it will stay angry, and it will get angrier unless one of you dies or it is driven away. Now, I said the words standard unknown because there is both a supremacy species version of unknown and a super endgame, ridiculously powerful, ultra aggressive unknown known as the Solstice War or Shiten unknown. That one can go to a 7th level.
This is like that fucking World Breaker Hulk type of story. Oh my god.
Of Enrage.
Oh wow. Oh, that's horrifying. Bro, that is a horrifying intro to it. Holy shit. That's a huge attack. Oh my god. That's it? Oh, wow. He looks like a fucking demon. Yes. Lick him up, bro. Oh, damn. Nice sidestep. The
For
fact
context,
you're even...
This
oh my
version
God.
of Unknown came packaged with an upscaled version of Frontier's Black Dragon level monster, Disufiroa. That's the level of power we're talking about.
Oh, Christ.
That on its own is incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
That a monster that looks like is probably related to, and in its calmest state fights on the same level as a Rathian, has possibly the potential to reach the power threshold of the most exclusive, most dangerous, and most feared
No fucking way. Dude, this is like... No, this is Broly levels of power scaling in terms of like in of itself as a monster. The fact it can go up a classification from like, okay, it's kind of a mere Rathian, which of course in of itself is quite powerful. They're kind of like an assault not dragon, sorry. They're kind of like an assault wyvern. You know, they're pretty well rounded. They can fly, shoot fireballs and stuff like that. So sure, but like, what's crazy about it is that the like the power scaling. Sure, let's say you meet a particularly angry Rathian, stop. Let's say you meet a particularly angry Rathalos. Sure, I suppose it could get to some level of like, okay, what the fuck is actually kind of crazy. But like this, bro, this is insane levels. Legendary Super Saiyan type levels of bullshit. The fact it can reach some of the most exclusive dragons' powers. Well, not powers as in like abilities, but like in terms of what? Combat prowess. Yeah? Holy shit.
tier of monsters in Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Exactly how canon that is up in the air, but all I'm saying is that it was just Disufiroa and Unknown who got this Solstice War or Shiten treatment. It might be a shorter list to tell you what this thing can't do rather than what it can. An unenraged Unknown fights like a Rathian, your standard flying wyvern moveset, but each level of enrage builds and builds and builds upon this thing's toolkit, manifesting a near ceaseless barrage of varied, unrelenting, and overwhelming weaponry.
Oh my god.
Fireballs, flame beams, the strength to rip up chunks out of the earth, projectile spines shot out of its wings that it can reach, venomous talons, corrosive gas, faster and faster, stronger and stronger with each level. And that's the basic one. Its supremacy version gains access to its 6th level of enrage. It
Okay,
can
bro.
charge its fireballs to make them stronger, break their fireballs into multiple smaller versions, throw its wing spikes so
It's literally Akuma, bro.
hard that they tear up the ground around them, has a roar so loud it can stun hunters, can rip the ground apart by stomping its wings, beats of its wings so mighty it can knock hunters up into the air and then pursue after them in kind of a reverse dive bomb. In
Oh
its
my
most
god.
powerful state, Unknown's wings, talons, eyes, and spikes glow with a deep bloody crimson. It
Yeah.
can wreathe the arena in jet black mist, obscuring it to the point where you can see nothing but the
I like this. This is very reminiscent of that. Almost like, well, I suppose, because like, when the enraged state, like, sure,
glow.
in his like original form, you can see, sure, he's kind of like black and red, nice, cool, angry palette, your typical, kind of angry, hateful palette. But like over time, the contrast between him and this like his sixth like enraged state, the contrast deepens deeply. What deepens deeply? But like, what I'm saying is like the almost his skin, his scales, and whatever turns even blacker, and his talons, his wings, almost kind of glow this like molten, this molten mixture of like fucking hate. And then what's really cool about it is when you see his wings, they're just disgustingly red. They're just disgustingly red. It's amazing, bro. Like, it looks almost completely fictional aside from Monster Hunter's typical like, oh, this does that, and then it fights like this, and then why it can fight like this is because of its adaptations, and how it evolved to be this way, and you have the whole shebang. But with this one, it literally doesn't have a name. Somehow it looks like a Rathalos, also kind of fights like one, but it's just supremely pissed off for whatever reason. So that's still really cool though.
Crimson.
Fuck.
It can wreathe the arena in jet black mist, obscuring it to the point where you can see nothing but the glow of its
Yeah.
eyes flying around the map in a corkscrew before inhaling the mist and releasing it in a shockwave. It can kick up a hurricane of black wind that rips the tower you fight it on into pieces, flinging massive chunks of debris around the arena. The absolute might of this monster is demonic. The other bit of interesting info...
I think people need to be reminded more, especially like newcomers like me, that like, sure, like because it does appear in my head, and I always correct it every time it does. Is because like, oh, what? Okay, it can rip up the ground a little. You don't understand. Normal monsters cannot do this. They really cannot. I'm serious.
About Unknown is that it's an invader, capable of interrupting hunts for other monsters and
Wow.
wreaking havoc. I really only have one hang-up about this incredible monster. It doesn't make sense to model your super enigmatic monster after the mascots, which are, as far as I'm aware, canonically enormously common, enormously ecologically successful, and very well documented monsters. One of the coolest things about Monster Hunter lore is the massively expansive...
If you want like an unknown monster, right? You could... Okay, here's the thing. Because there should be a good reason, a good, nice, solid reason for why it fights this way, and it fights in such an enraged manner. And to give you a little concept, right? That isn't this like Rathalos looking build. You should have it have some sort of... You know when like a monster has something they don't really need anymore, so you're watching them in the middle of a somewhat evolutionary transition between how they look and how they act. You know that? I think it would be great to see a monster that is extremely aggressive, like this one, gets enraged to the point. So I'm basically just framing it off of another unknown, right? But in terms of like adaptations, I mean, right, and why it fights that way and stuff, is let's say they've had a really bad case of survival of the fittest, essentially. Because, like, let's say they were predated on, very, very predated on, to the point they might actually go extinct. But the last ones that were actually making it out alive are the most angry ones that were fighting for their fucking lives. So that could explain, why it fights so fiercely and its enraged state and how it gets angrier and angrier and just angrier, bro. But I would also have it to like that. Like in terms of like for intimidation factor, right? It should have a again that thing I told you about, like a species kind of transitioning from defensive, I'd say defensive capabilities to offensive capabilities, but you're still seeing some of the old evolutionary shit they have where the behavior is different but the looks are almost the same, and where let's say the monster I'm talking about, let's say unknown, is actually kind of shelled, almost like a Gravios, right? Almost kind of like that, but then, the way they fight is just absolute, absolute Broly tier rage, right? Um, but it would be nice. I'm just saying, like, they're armored that way because they've been predated on a lot, and survival of the fittest, and you fight angry as fuck. It creates these conditions. It creates these big conditions that require them to change, almost rapidly in not a short amount of time, of course. Let's say this is like in the middle of a transition. Of course, I told you guys that already. But it would be cool to see. It would really be cool to see. I'm kind of making up an excuse for us to kind of keep the armored kind of exoskeleton look that I want, because, well, not exoskeleton, the kind of dermal armor that I want to see in a monster like as such as the unknown, because I just want it for the cool factor.
Intricate, multi-layered, and competent hunters guild. Even if the guild doesn't know much for absolute certainty about this monster, they can make educated guesses.
Yeah.
They must have entire tomes of research about the rats. They have probably decades of groundwork to try and piece this thing together. This specific monster, being ultra enigmatic, simply doesn't work for that reason. Gormagala worked as a mystery monster
Yeah.
before Ultimate because nothing looked like it.
Yes,
Nothing
yes,
fought
yes,
like
yes.
it. Nothing had access to its frenzy virus. Up till that point, both in-game and in the lore of the world, there was nothing like
Yes.
all things considered. This is a
It has to be
particularly
unique.
arbitrary sticking point, but I
Fair,
do
fair.
think it's warranted.
Well,
Everything
yeah,
else
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
totally fine with. I'm fine with a terrifying relative of the rats. I think it's sick that it's an invader. I think
Yeah.
the multi-tier rage mechanic is phenomenal. I think its roster of abilities are sick. I am 100% down with a relative or variation of Monster Hunter's mascots possibly having the power potential of a black dragon. I
Oh
actually
my
think that would
God.
be very fitting if that were to become official. All of that is fine, but it needs a name. That, or this concept, should be shifted to another monster.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
honestly, I'd rather the former. I think this color scheme looks great on the Rathian model, and I'll repeat, I think the series mascots deserve some form of incarnation.
I disagree with his point that the Rathalos like variation with the near Black Dragon, or almost on the same level as Black Dragon of in terms of like kind of power status. Eh, I mean, but his point though, I respect it. It's fair. It's fair. He's got his reasons.
at this power threshold.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
giving
yeah.
Unknown, or maybe Raro, or whatever the hell they call this thing, a 9 out of 10 for how much I want it. Just give it a name. Gogamoa.
Now, who the hell is this? Who the fuck is that? What are those sloth claws, bro? Oh wow, you can charge with a greatsword. Holy shit, that's cool.
Okay, now, let's reel everything way down and relax.
Oh wait,
had
it's a
two
switch axe, I think.
Outlandishly powerful super monsters back to back. Let's talk about another unique, endearing, and high personality mid to low tier monster. Because I love those two.
Okay.
Gogamoa is a primate-like fanged beast, similar but not directly related to monsters like Rajang, Blangonga, and Kongalala. Gogamoa is famous for two things. One, they can fire a strong silk-like substance from their palms. Two, they are enormously protective parents that can sometimes fight you while carrying its baby on its back.
Oh my
Yep,
god.
this giant monkey will fight you to the death while its baby gets a piggyback ride. It is possible to damage the younger creature, but if you deal enough damage to the point where it flees, the Gogamoa will go into a permanent berserk-like rage. So yeah, refrain from hitting the baby.
Of course.
That's the one thing about Gogamoa. You can't slay the baby, but you obviously can kill the parent. I
Nature.
don't want to look at the kid I'm orphaning. I prefer when that's off screen, thank you.
Just Batman the
So
kid,
Silk
bro.
Ordeal. Well, Gogamoa takes the whole spider monkey idea and ramps that up to 11. They have organs in their palms that produce silk like a spider. When combined with the adhesive chemicals found in their saliva, this silk gets incredibly strong. Strong enough to support this massive monster swinging through trees. Strong enough to entangle hunters and other prey. Strong enough that Gogamoa can use it to uproot massive chunks of the earth with your feet and throw it at you. This is a super fun monster. I love how it looks. Might need an HD touch-up to the face, but otherwise, I love the bright red and cream-colored fur, the mohawk, the enormous claws, the prehensile tail, and I'm just a fan of the monkey monsters in general. I'd love to get another one. His fighting style is pretty unique, even in an era where we have full-on spider monsters now. And his ecology is really fun. I'd love to interact with one in a game like Monster Hunter World, where the monster ecology was more fleshed out in the gameplay. It's said that they're really only aggressive when they have their young with them. So you could have a peaceful solo Gogamoa, or aggressive ones caring for their young. Their ability to swing from trees and climb them is perfect for the more vertical Monster Hunter we have now. This would be an outstanding addition to the core Monster Hunter roster. Giving this one a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Would love to see that. Because the maneuverability, you'd have to combat against its maneuverability. Oh, that would be class!
Abiorugu.
Oh, brute wyvern. Oh wow, yeah, you look like one of them powerhouses. Like, oh, this is some random herbivores here.
I wish I had a bit more to say about this guy than I do, because I think he looks amazing. I think his theme is immaculate.
Yeah.
And holy actual... The Monster Hunter World Resurgence modding team made a phenomenal mod for World that implements Abiorugu. And just... damn,
oh my.
Minus a little bit of animation jank, that thing does not look like a mod. Side note.
Yes!
Resurgence is going to announce their next monster mod soon. I don't even have World for Steam, and I really want to do it.
God damn, bro. Oh my god. Nah, oh, does he glow? Oh, is that fire?
What they do. Side note.
Whoa!
The name for Abiorugu in that mod is Abiogladius. I couldn't confirm if that's an actual Romanized localization of his name or just something the mod team came up with, so I'm just gonna keep saying Abiorugu. That mod, honestly, gives him a bit of an unfair advantage. It just looks so crazy good that it bumped my desire to see him in the series. Now that I actually have seen how good he would look. Abiorugu bumps into the same issue that Duragawa did for me. Niche. I think he clashes with both Glavenus and Deviljho. Two very popular, very good monsters.
I will say, also Anjanath. Why did I kind of feel the silence after that I said that one? No, hear me out. I mean, there is quite enough of the brute wyverns going around in these big-ass forests. Otherwise, it would be like a clusterfuck of like territorial disputes. So, I guess, okay.
Monsters. Deviljho especially being one of the staple monsters in the series roster now. Abiorugu is a massive, aggressive, green brute wyvern who weaponizes the fire element and has a sword tail. The biggest
he loves those close-range mouth explosions, bro. Look at that.
Check that out. Weaponizes the fire element and has a sword tail. The biggest difference, and I think this is his saving grace here, is that he doesn't quite fight like either Glavenus or Deviljho.
Good.
He implements his tail, but it's not a staple of his entire moveset.
Nice, okay.
He uses elemental prowess like Deviljho, but uses it more in the form of charged bursts rather than sweeping beams. He's also a fair bit smaller than the two, and I think agility would be more heavily implemented into his moveset as opposed to the overwhelming physical prowess of Deviljho. He's got a lot of full body attacks that hit in several places at once, making him adept at fighting groups. Further separating him from his contemporaries is his willingness to hunt in pairs, whereas the other two are pretty much exclusively solo hunters.
Lonesome hunters.
Make the necessary tweaks to make him feel different enough. And as I said with Duragawa, ideally, I don't really mind if we have two or more monsters in the game that fill very similar roles. If all three of these monsters were in the same game, I would be happy. But again, that's a lot of resources dedicated to very samey monsters. And I'm not sure I want Abiorugu enough that I'd want him instead of the other two. Deviljho especially, who has only been absent for one game, but I very much miss him. I think his charged fireball combos look like a lot of
Oh, he looks badass in this photo.
Fun to go up against. And he's got a few unique slams and swipes that other brute wyverns don't have. I think the red-orange claws, horns, and spines work really well for him with this. Also, that blade tail is, I kind of like it because it's not as pronounced and usable looking as Glavenus. Glavenus, you had like a fucking, he's got like a kitchen knife back there, you know? Nice and thick. Very usable. But with this guy, like, sure, it looks usable, but he looks a lot more versatile because, you know, they're showcasing the explosive mouth bombs that he has. Core deep forest green coloration he has. Yeah. I love the kind of ceratopsian head crest he has and the Stegosaurus reminiscent dorsal plates, implementing a few more dinosaurs into his design. He looks excellent, and brute wyverns are always going to get a bump in my opinion. I'm gonna give this guy a 7 out of 10 for wanting him. Pretty Taikun Zamuza. Crab. Why do you look like that? If that's the theme, then fair enough. That's pretty unsettling, bro. Ooh. Man, for a game that is famous and infamous for its god-level, super crazy, ridiculous monsters, its mid-tier monsters are consistently bangers. Taikun Zamuza is a seemingly hulking carapacian found deep in underground caves. Why does bro have teeth? He begins as a slow, lumbering, massive crustacean with a gigantic club-like claw and a slightly less gigantic claw. He looks like a golem of some kind, an amalgamation of nature morphed into the form of a crab. This, however, is not what Taikun Zamuza really looks like.
That's
It isn't even
insane.
a shell. This is layers and layers of dirt and rock and mushrooms and barnacles and all kinds of other crap
What the
melded
fuck?
into a set of natural armor. This is both battle armor and very effective camouflage.
Yeah?
Dealing with Taikun Zamuza will slowly knock off chunks
That's such a weird mouth.
of his armor,
like,
revealing
art.
a brilliant orange shell beneath. With his proper shell revealed, Zamuza gets much faster and more aggressive. He utilizes his different sized pincers in tandem. The larger
Wow.
one is for bludgeoning and defending from attacks, whereas the smaller one is for slicing and stabbing at his foes. The more damage he takes, the lighter, faster, and more violent he becomes. But this is still not Taikun Zamuza's true form. When he is pushed to the brink and fears for his life, he will shatter his battered orange shell and reveal the ghostly pale blue crab that has been fighting you the whole time. It's almost uncanny.
Whoa.
It's so different from what he started out looking like. How on earth
What the fuck?
did this animal move with all that armor? All those
Yeah?
earthly colors stripped away for this ghostly alien blue. He's more susceptible to damage like this, but he is also lightning fast. Actually though, he has now revealed lightning producing organs that can strengthen his physical attacks. On his last legs, Taikun Zamuza abandons defense altogether and fights
Fair.
as fast and brutal as he can until finally being put down. What a fantastic monster. All three forms look amazing. His fight evolves as it goes. His elements and environment interactions change. His attack patterns and strategies change as he gets desperate. His elemental weaknesses
Yeah?
change as he loses his armor. He shifts
Nah, I'm fucking astonished. A three-step verification for bro is crazy work.
the environment between phases by causing cave-ins. The Carapacians in general are a fantastic and
Ooh,
underrepresented
that's a cool
monster
sweep.
category, especially for how old they are. I didn't think I'd be so enamored with this guy, but the more I learn about him, the more I see of him, the more I really, really like him. That's our first 10 out of 10, and it ain't the last.
Ooh,
I
fair.
absolutely
I do not blame
love
you.
to see Taikun Zamuza make his debut in the main series.
Is that lightning orb?
Kuad
Oh my god.
Sapusu.
Oh my god. Familiar head crest, but holy mineralization, bro. That's like Oregon levels. Holy shit. Dude. Oh, he looks really cool too. Almost like, you know, Blackstone. Oh no, Gilded Blackstone in Minecraft. Looks like that a lot.
Now,
It's amazing
we
though.
get Frontier's first entry to what might be my first or second favorite monster type, the Leviathans. They're in contention with brute wyverns. It depends on the day. Why, yes, I did start with Monster Hunter Tri. How could you tell? The overly spiky, spiny, pointy monster designs of Frontier are a turnoff for some people. And while I don't 100% agree, I do get it. Kuad Sapusu is a pretty prominent example of this design aesthetic. And for the life of me, I have no idea why I really like how this guy looks.
Damn.
It's maybe the Lagiacrus blinders, but I'll never admit it. The slew of jagged crystals sticking out of his body, the oddly square-like scale pattern, the massive horn, the gigantic set of underbite fangs on the second layer of his mouth that make a cage around the rest of his teeth when his mouth is
Man,
closed.
that looks
the
cool.
cluster of crystals near his neck and the back of his head that kind of look like a mane a little bit. The dark brown of his scales contrasted with the bright cerulean crystals.
Again, it's the contrast,
Something
man.
about it all clicks. All these bizarre elements combined together to make a creature that is so odd, so crazy looking, yet so unique and honestly badass. He doesn't look like any other Leviathan or any other crystal monster, really. As a physical attacker, he shares a lot of moves with Lagiacrus and Ignactor. Bites, tail sweeps, body checks. He can even corkscrew into the ground like Ignactor.
Oh,
come
wow.
bursting in and out of the ground in rapid succession. My absolute favorite move of his is when he stabs his horn into the ground and uses it to hold him in place as he spins his whole body around that access point.
Oh my
Now, that's all well and
god.
good. But let's talk about the star attraction, the crystals.
Wait, I need to see that. Holy fuck.
Now that's all well and good. But let's talk about the star attraction, the crystals. Kuad Sapusu has a very adaptable
I think the
biology.
fucking...
The crystals in his body
I think the footage is lagging.
can react in different ways to different environments and different weather conditions. These crystals can absorb, store, and redirect energy from sunlight and electricity. In sunny weather, his beam attacks deal fire damage, and he's capable of releasing bursts of light that can blind hunters. In stormy weather, his beam attacks deal lightning damage, and he has the ability to paralyze hunters. That, in and of itself, is super cool, but we're far from done. The crystals can be shaken from his body, and can be stuck into the ground. First of all, they can charge up with elemental power and explode when hunters are nearby. Second of all, their respective elements can ricochet between them, though that might just be the hardcore version of the monster. Gameplay. Third of all, you can attack these crystals, break them, and supercharge your weapon with a single hit of that additional elemental damage type. Both of which Kuad Sapusu is weak to. How cool is that? What a fantastic interaction. One or two of these layers
That's a great
were
mechanic.
more than enough, but the mechanics of this monster just keep stacking and stacking. The creativity of his kit is so damn cool. They push this guy to the limits of creativity. And we're not done yet. Kuad Sapusu gains different abilities depending on what map he's on. In the Highlands, where the weather constantly changes, Kuad Sapusu will often swap between his fire and lightning powers in correlation with the weather. At the Great Forest Peak, the storms the region experiences have supercharged him with electricity, making it far more deadly and adding to the range of his electrical attacks. In the desert, Kuad Sapusu can actually be found in rare pairings. These two will communicate by flashing their crystals to one another, where they combine a discharge of massive amounts of solar energy in a colossal explosion that incinerates everything in a massive area and blinds any hunters beyond the explosion. The only safe zone from this ability is, well, another zone. Kuad Sapusu is the epitome of you didn't need to go this hard. The element swapping, the changing with the weather, the different abilities in different zones, the weapon buffs. This feels like 4 monsters all compiled into one. Kuad Sapusu is peak Monster Hunter creativity. This is the kind of monster that makes Monster Hunter special. All wrapped up in a funky yet super badass Leviathan. 10 out of 10. Not a question.
Fair. I can see why it's his favorite. The mechanics are amazing. Very nice and diversified type of mechanics. Not too complex. Not too simple either. Also, this music is banging.
Aruganosu and Goruganosu.
Oh wow. Oh, very fish looking. And they swim like fish too, of course. Both wyvern looking. Or maybe not so much.
Okay, so we have an enigmatic monster that we literally call unknown.
Yep.
But if I'm being honest, I have more questions about these guys. Why are there silver and gold Piscine wyverns at the top of a tower?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why did they look exactly like Lavasioth? How did they get here? And what do they eat? Where do they nest? How does this work biologically?
I don't know.
How do they swim through solid rock?
Honestly, I get that Frontier isn't like, or at least I think it isn't, some of it isn't official, because like some of these are just like, just do it, it's cool. You know?
Why do they battle in pairs in any quest you fight them in? I don't know. Why do they have a seemingly special instinct to hate and fight each other, yet will then decide to team up against anyone who enters their conflict? I don't know. Why do they have better teamwork cohesion than a couple of the partner monsters that mate for life? I don't know. Why do they still attack each other sometimes when they're fighting you, like they're shonen anime rivals?
Yeah.
I don't know. What was the idea behind this fight? I don't know. Do I want them in mainline Monster Hunter?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm of two minds. I think Aruganosu and Goruganosu are peak Monster Hunter silliness, which,
Fair.
whether you like it or not, is very much imbued within the game's DNA.
Of course,
Two
man.
gigantic silver and gold fish, for some reason, went to the top of a tower that they can swim
Just chilled there.
and decided to beat the snot out of each other.
Yeah.
Unless anything enters their turf war, in which they will join forces to put down the invader. They will combine their lightning and ice elements to make
Literally a pair of Shoten, what the fuck is it called? Literally a pair of, like, shonen protagonists, bro.
tornadoes. They have
my
the
God.
standard roster of Piscean Wyvern physical attacks. They can dig beneath the surface of the tower and attack from below. The Silver Aruganosu weaponizes ice projectiles and can inflict paralysis, whereas the Golden Goruganosu utilizes the thunder element for its projectiles and can induce sleep. They will knock each other out of their stuns and sleep. They will pick each other up from near death to prolong a fight and keep their ally alive, meaning you have to drain both of their health pools at a fairly equal rate throughout the fight. And yet, they will actively take swings at each other and get in cheap shots on one another when they can. Monsters like the Wraths and Orugarons don't have mechanics like this. And like I said, those mate for life. These fish apparently hate each other, and this is the only way you can fight these guys. They don't appear on any other map. They don't appear separate.
Yep,
and
they
it's
always.
the fact that
Yep.
they're painted Lavasioth. Used to be considered
Literally.
supremacy species of Lavasioth, but they got changed to their own thing. That element of them being giant metal fish who do this makes this all so much funnier. This is as goofy as Monster Hunter gets.
Yeah.
There's nothing quite like this. Nothing fights quite like this.
Genuinely
Nothing has
just-
mechanics or personalities quite like
Hello?
this.
Why the fuck did I zoom out? Genuinely just for the shits and giggles, bro.
And as much as I do find the humor and love how wild this encounter is, I think this may be a step too far for a mainline Monster Hunter.
Fair.
This fits a bonkers side game MMO of questionable at best canonicity.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
fits
yeah,
Frontier,
yeah, yeah.
But these two are so specific, so quirky,
And
that
random.
they don't feel quite like animals. I don't value that part of Monster Hunter above all else,
Of
but I do very
course.
much appreciate the attention to detail, in-depth biology, and aspects of realism in Monster Hunter. So
Yeah.
how do these guys work? How do they function? Why do they always fight? Why do they help and hinder one another in a fight with hunters? How does that factor into instinct? It seems like so much personality that it borders on being sapient. And I can buy limited sapiency in Elder Dragons, but two separate species of giant fish? I wouldn't mind experiencing this as a fight in a video game. On that level, this sounds really fun, but there's aspects about this that I don't love as an encounter in Monster Hunter. So, as is my opinion, splitting it right down the middle. 5 out of 10 for how much I'd like to see these guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Odi Batorasu.
Ooh, this one looks to my liking. Oh, is he huge? Holy fuck. Okay, not too crazy. Okay, he looks cool, Holy, you look ogre-like. Never seen anything like this guy. Like a big turtle.
We've got one new monster left for today, and he is a big boy. He is cousin
Oh, yeah.
to Cantor and Eucalmos, the red god.
Oh my... Bro, we just reverted back. Hold on. Okay. Holy shit. This is the red god. The red wyvern god. What? Oh my god. I didn't know.
We've got one new monster left for today, and he is a big boy. He is cousin to Akantor and Yukonmos, the red the white and black, a desert-dwelling Goliath known as the Cannon Rock Wyvern. These guys are seldom seen, content to live out in the desert and relax under the sand. The guild usually doesn't bother with Odibatarasu unless there's a large population of Akura Vashimu in the area. When that occurs, Odibatarasu goes hunting, and the destruction that comes from this can disrupt entire ecosystems. Odibatarasu's most famed feature is his massive shell, and the relation it shares with the immense amounts of sand he ingests. There's a number of openings along the sides of his shell from which he ejects excess sand from his body. He can also fire beams of it from his mouth. Though his most distinct usage of the sand in his body is when an organ he has hardens it into a massive projectile which can be fired from a large hole at the front of his shell like it's a cannon. This is so goofy that it's cool. It feels a bit more Pokemon than Monster Hunter.
Yes.
Okay, it feels very Pokemon, but
oh my god.
It's a lot of
fun. The Blastoise.
The giant desert god turtle has a sand artillery gun. That's fun. He's very good at manipulating the sand around him, too. Kicking up massive waves of it around him, digging into it to move around, creating massive explosions and pillars by slamming the ground. Should these pillars form underneath a hunter, it will trap them and suspend them several feet in the air. He feels like a proper god of the desert, expertly weaponizing the entire arena, and I'd love to see how these powers could be pushed even further in modern Monster Hunter. His design is a lot like him. Very cool and kind of goofy. He's got good colors. I like how the vibrant red stands out in the desert. His shell looks enormously cumbersome and almost too big even for him, spilling past the sides of his own body. I'm not sure whether I love or hate the Thanos chin. I think he works really well when you see him moving. I'll give this guy an 8 out of 10 on how much I want to see him. I like him a lot, and I like the idea of Akantor and Yukonmos getting a third member to their group.
I'll give him a 6. He doesn't look that cool, I'm not gonna lie. For a red god, that's it's okay.
Variations. Now that we're done with all of the brand new original monsters, we're going to go through the powered up forms and named subspecies, rare species, variants, all of those other categories. First and foremost, we are going to breeze through the hardcore and supremacy species of Monster Hunter Frontier. I'm going to touch on these guys rather quickly, because, quite frankly, I highly doubt we will ever see the hardcore monsters again. Supremacy species might have a slight chance, though I would say that some evolution of their concept might be possible. The reason for me bypassing them a little bit here and not thinking that they'll be coming back is, as visual designs and as fight designs, hardcore monsters feel the least divorced from their core monster of origin. They're stronger, older, and can do what the normal monster can do to a heightened degree, and a lot of other monster variations operate like this as well. But those other categories also carry the revamped designs, new titles, more intricate lore to further distinguish them. Looking at the hardcore monsters, their physical changes rarely go beyond a slightly exaggerated set of horns or claws. A few of them, like Abiorugu or Rajang, get some new noticeable changes. But some of the monsters are so similar that in gathering monster render images, I'll see these hardcore renders and just think it's a second render of the exact same monster. I think these hardcore monsters are valuable in the sense that they have cool moves that could find their way into the moveset of the respective base monster, and I could see an evolution of the hardcore gimmick. The problem is that they themselves don't carry enough of their own individual distinction in most cases to warrant covering separately. I feel somewhat similarly, but to a lesser degree, about the supremacy species monsters. There's much fewer of them, and they are much more exaggerated versions of their core monsters. Their designs are more distinct, they have more new mechanics and attacks. The supremacy Paria Purya is easily my favorite
horrifying.
Small club. He looks enormously different from the core Paria Purya and gives off a much different vibe. This is a group that, once again, might have some of their attacks and mechanics salvaged, but I doubt we will see them again. To further this point, they were kind of forgotten in their own game. Aruganosu and Goruganosu were retconned out of being Lavasioth's supremacy species, leaving only 4 left. One for Doraguosu, one for Paria Purya, one for Teostra, and one for Bericurosu. And none were added when Monster Hunter Frontier became Monster Hunter Frontier G. The supremacy species formula of taking a monster and turning it into an extremely over-the-top version of itself was also repeatedly outdone in the game's later life cycle. So that's my blurb about these 2 subcategories. Worthwhile in their own game, possessing mechanics worth keeping, but I don't see them specifically coming back. Now, onto the more self-distinct and named monster variations. Breeding Season Hypnocatrice. Quite self-explanatory, it's a male Hypnocatrice looking to attract a mate. I really like this recolor, the darker body with brilliant blue and purple feathers. Probably my favorite version of Hypnocatrice in terms of design. And yes, there are others, we'll get to them later. He's an older subspecies, however, meaning he really doesn't have a lot about him mechanically that is different from the core Hypnocatrice. He's a bit more proficient at inducing sleep, and his hardcore version can release a stun gas, so that's something. I'll give him a 6 out of 10.
I mean, hey, we're talking about variations here, fair enough.
But he'd need a major rework. Lavasioth subspecies. Yeah, that's unfortunately the official name. Let's call it Red Lavasioth. Another breeding season-induced variation, like the aforementioned Hypnocatrice. This breeding season thing was a whole mechanic in Frontier, don't worry about it too much. Very similar song and dance. Stronger, tougher, faster. I do like the color, it's got a bit more fire and explosion shenanigans. 5 out of 10. Could maybe be cool with some tweaks. Espinas subspecies, already in the main series, rebranded as Flaming Espinas. He's a pretty good model for how you can improve some of these really old subspecies. He's an excellent fight, one of the best in Sunbreak.
That does look cool.
Hypnocatrice. This is a rare species, which immediately gives it some bonus points, because rare species are a very exclusive club of extremely high-quality monsters. He doesn't seem too crazy for what he is now. More prominent sleep, stronger kicks, ability to create tremors when he lands. Though, to be fair, the metal wrasse weren't great until the 5th generation either. In fact, it wasn't really until the 3rd generation that the rare species became the famed grouping of monsters that it is today. Color palette looks solid, but not quite as good as the breeding season Hypnocatrice. I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Because
he's okay, we can keep bro.
Being a rare species, they'll treat him very well in terms of his moveset. Rare species. A lot of what I just said maintains. Rare species are synonymous with fantastic variations nowadays. This white Espinas probably would need a few modern tweaks, but could be stellar, and really already is. He comes with some awesome abilities to coat massive areas in lingering poisonous fire. He can also create venomous pummels, toxic tornadoes, and massive
that's awesome. Holy shit.
There's a lot to work with already. I think he needs a few color tweaks, a little bit of correction to make his white and violet coloration look exceptional. Something about it doesn't look quite right in the base model. 9 out of 10 for wanting him. Keep the Espinas coming, please. Violent Laviente. And finally, we have a Laviente driven by his starvation. His fight is very similar to basic Laviente, with a few new moves. He's a bit more aggressive and attacks a little bit more. His colors, unfortunately, I think, are quite a bit worse. Very washed out, losing a lot of the bright, distinct oranges and greens. Also,
hey, I mean, you're that hungry. You're not gonna be caring much about looking good either.
But besides not looking as good, his other problem is that there's a much cooler variation of Laviente that I would rather have. And we'll talk about him.
I'm assuming whatever got or whatever lives in symbiosis with Brachydios also lives with this guy.
Cooler variation of Laviente that I would rather have.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about him in the next video.
The Berserker
4 out of
form.
10 for wanting him. You'll see why soon.
Whoa. Are we at an outro, or am I tripping? Outro! We are at an outro. Oh my god. Does he say anything at the end? Hold on. Skip here, and then...
Long way to go.
Okay.
And a lot of good stuff to get to. And despite how there was... team would get much more creative with their monster variations.
Yeah.
So that was a lot.
Yes.
Like a lot.
I sat through all of it.
There's a long way to go, and a lot of good stuff to get to. And despite how enormous this project is, I'm more than happy to do it.
Yeah, fair.
Because it's worth doing. If these creatures are doomed to never return, they deserve to be remembered, and thankfully, I'm not the only one making an effort to preserve them. In addition, let us hope that Espinas stands as
Hey man, the monsters were nice. The monsters were nice, bro.
I'm not the only one making an effort to preserve them.
Yeah.
In addition, let us hope that Espinas stands as a flag bearer for the salvation of the majority of these fantastic creations in the years to come. I'd like to give a massive thank you to creators like Bandlagaiacris on Twitter, who has documented tons of Monster Hunter lore, including very digestible and concise lore on everything I just talked about. The community is going to be a bit sadder when he retires from doing Monster Hunter. The guys over at Rage Gaming Videos, who they themselves didn't initially love the Frontier universe until they managed to gain permission to try some salvage servers in a closed beta. They did a lengthy and fantastic series of videos, essentially doing a full playthrough of Frontier and experiencing a lot of the game's wacky creatures and mechanics firsthand. The appreciation that they gradually developed for Frontier as they played it, after originally being distant naysayers, was a massive inspiration for me to make this series, as I came to adore the Frontier world alongside them. They deserve massive props for this as well. Thank you to anyone and everyone who contributed to the Monster Hunter wikis, and who posted gameplay of these fights online so that I could get a better grip of what these things could do. And a special thank you to the YouTubers who allowed me to use their footage for this video. A lot of these guys still actively post content, and I would recommend visiting their channels. They all make good stuff. There's probably going to be an absolute ton.
Wait, I recognize this profile.
Visiting their channels. They all make...
I think I recognize this profile. Am I tripping? I think one of them has commented on my... I don't know if it's this guy specifically, but still.
Good stuff. There's probably going to be an absolute ton of links to put in the description to credit all of these individuals, but I'll make sure their names are all present in the video too. Full credit goes to all of them for the footage in this video.
Of course.
And of course, thank you. I don't think I'll ever stop saying it, because it is becoming more and more deserved by the day. I did not think the channel would be doing this well right now. And so many of you, even those of you who have disagreed with me and my takes, have been enormously polite and extremely kind.
Yeah,
and if you made it to this point...
I mean, come on. It is a monster hunting game. I don't know why anyone here should even try having like a disagreement wherein of itself becomes like an actual disrespectful disagreement, right? Like, sure, we can sit here and bicker about, oh my god, but Hawaiian, but pineapples don't belong in pizza, and I would agree with you. But for those who disagree, it's pizza, bro. It's pizza. And if a friend of, let's say I had a friend, and they ordered like pizza with pineapple on it, I would still eat it, man. It's pizza. Come on. Be chill about it. The discussions are great. No matter if someone disagrees or whatever, because of course we all have our reasons to disagree or agree with the person. It's always just nice to have like fair disagreements, and then, you know.
You just listened to a very amateur YouTuber talk for like, oh god,
Hey man, you wrote script for it. It sounded great. It sounded great. You should be like a fucking DM or something. A dungeon master. That's a great voice for like you're emphasizing. I've heard how you emphasized certain qualities of it, and it's I mean, I do that as well, but that's mainly why I've noticed it in you as well, and it's amazing stuff, bro.
No idea. This script is on its 35th page right now. Every day this comes closer and closer to being an actual job for me. And I will only get back.
Fair. Hey, man. Reach for that G. I'm trying to reach for it too. Hey. Come on now.
Better from here. And unfortunately, and fortunately, my scripts will probably only get longer and longer.
Yeah.
Because I do like to write about what I'm passionate about. So, don't expect part 2 of this series for a little while. This was a pretty massive undertaking, and I don't want to only post 4 videos over the course of 3 months. I will be doing another Monster Hunter highlight video.
Yeah,
Another
that's
Are
fine.
there any good or bad scenes in a Star Wars movie video. A Monster Hunter video unrelated to any of my other active series. A breakdown of The
Fair.
Mandalorian Season 3. And hopefully the Clone Wars rewatch and review should resume sometime soon as Cody's schedule opens back up. So that's what there is to look forward to on the channel coming up. Thank you again
Nice.
so much if you made it this far. Or even if you didn't and you can't hear me right now, I'm still thankful for the clicks. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe and
Of
hit the
course,
notification
man.
bell if you want to see more. Which monsters from this video caught your eye the most? Or, if you are already well versed in this area of Monster Hunter, tell me what non-mainline monsters you'd like to see the most. This has been CR-Volcanic or Connor.
That
I'm
was
going
a
to
fucking-
relax my voice right now.
Please, bro,
and my typing
please.
fingers as I
It's
continue to edit
2:30
this
in the
Leviathan.
morning. Oh my god, I've been working on this for 3 weeks. Thank god this is done. 3 weeks, bro. I worked on like a little side well, then again, I was busy, right? I worked on mine for like a month. Also, I think I want to make a video and post soon enough about this one particular game that I like. It's not Monster Hunter related, but the mechanics are nice. They're crisp to me, right? It's specifically the first version of it. Oh well, first iteration. It's called, I think, Wizard of Legend. The first one, because I love the pixel style.
Video. And if you've been an absolute chat and stuck around to the very end of this
Hey.
probably coming up on hour-and-a-half long video, here's a tease for what the next Monster Hunter highlight video is going to be. Enjoy.
Oh, we get a nice little teaser, okay. Okay. Okay, bro. He makes my thumbnails. Check him out if you're looking for design work. The loot dress was scuffed on purpose. Amazing, bro. Anyway, oh my god, that was amazing to watch. I was fucking awestruck by the monsters. Because, again, like 90% of the monsters I have not ever seen. Never, bro. Like, sure, maybe I've seen them once or twice, and like maybe one of the, not opening, because we recently, what was it, that one? The size video. I saw it, that one, like they were recreating the posters and what and stuff that looked like, you know, and it was really cool fucking stuff. But like, so some of the monsters there I probably saw and like it flew past my brain because like I don't know these guys, bro. Like, who is this? Who is this? Like, the monster that caught me the most was the unknown. Such a full tilt design, right? Obviously with because you can get a lot more mystical and kind of fantastical when it becomes like, we don't know. What's its habitat? How does it reproduce? We don't know. So you can cram a lot more bullshit into it, like the fucking glowing wings and say, you know, I mean, sure, you could argue that's your dragon energy, but still, it's always just so cool to watch, man. All these monsters, their unique mechanics and how they work. And it's what makes it cool is that it's not just like, oh, you know, we fight big fat, we fight big bad guy or whatever. And I mean, sure, you can boil it down and dumb it down to that summary, but like there is something different about each monster. To the point, sure, at first, let's say when you're a newbie like me, they're kind of indistinguishable. Oh, this monster looks cooler, this monster looks cooler than that, this is cool stuff. But when you get into the deep depths of it, you can see that even the variations, sure, maybe they have a stronger attack or whatever, they live in different habitats and they have different living conditions. It's too cool, man. It's too cool not to look at, bro, and take a gander at. Especially like me, like, bro, I'm like only a month or 2 or 3 into this shit, or 4. I don't know how long it's been ever since I'm like, oh, reacting to the interesting monsters of Monster Hunter Wilds. I didn't think people would actually like it because, especially like, I'll tell you this. I know I've told you guys maybe in like the past videos, but Perhaps some of you are newcomers here to my channel. If so, welcome. Hi, hi, hi. If you watched till the end, crazy work. This is like 2 hours. I've been yapping for maybe an hour, bro. Holy fuck. Is this a skill? But like I will say, right? In that video in where it's kind of broke, it's kind of my first breakthrough with people's recommendations, right? I'm coming through, I'm invading your recommendations. Like when I first reacted to that, I thought nothing of it because it was kind of a low effort upload, right? I just did a cut and it's kind of an hour long video, and you have my intro, my outro, classic basic stuff a reactor should have. And you have me yapping away for an hour being curious about the monsters because I just wanted to. And I was like, you know what, fine, let's post it, I guess. Because like I always have this mindset of if you have a video and you think it's interesting and it's properly made, you got the stuff done already, you cut out the unimportant parts, yeah man, go ahead and post it. I don't care if you think it's maybe a little cringy or whatever, people might like it. And look where it got me. People are coming to my channel, they're being nice and friendly, and it's just super awesome stuff, man. And I'm kind of like being celebrated for being curious. It's very fulfilling. It's very fulfilling. I get to be curious, bro. I get to be curious. I get to sit here and ponder about these fascinating franchises, bro. Especially this one with how deep their ecology goes. It's always just so pleasant to watch. Anyways, enough of me yapping. This is almost 2 hours and 30 minutes worth of footage. I'll probably cut some. Maybe we'll end up at like 20 minutes. You know what? It probably will just end up the same. Just with probably longer actually because I need my outro. But anyways, this has been Ephemerals. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I certainly did, but my throat is currently complaining. But don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow for another video. And for now, please guys, take care of yourselves, especially you. If I appear in your recommendation, CR-Volcanic, please take care of yourself, bro. 3 weeks on a video, you are on crazy timing. Crazy. Please take care of yourself, okay? I get, writing and, voicing over, having the B-roll footage takes a lot of work to, snip it together. I say that especially because like I use kind of a laggy editor. It's kind of laggy on my device, right? Sure, there may be faster editors, sure, but like I don't have the time. I can't really afford the time to kind of learn it at the moment, right? But fair enough, I mean, I got what I need, so fair. Anyhow, please take care of yourselves. This has been absolutely pleasant to watch. I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy hunting!